Nether highways are roads which connect a Minecraft world together, making it easier to travel, move mobs, and in general, just get stuff done. Today we're going to be taking a look at the general design process for our own survival world, down to the choice of highway style and the way the build was made, including block palette and general Minecraft building. The principles and general design concepts should be similar to Bedrock, so although I play on Java, Bedrock players should find the information just as applicable to their own worlds and servers. Really quick before we get going, I have two favors to ask of you. First, since this is a new style I'm experimenting with, I'd like to get as much feedback as possible. If you're so inclined, a positive or even a negative comment would go a long way to help improve the quality of my videos. Secondly, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, as it goes a long way to help support the channel, especially at smaller sizes. Having more subscribers allows the channel to post to a larger initial audience, giving them a decent boost, and gives the all-powerful algorithm an early idea of how the video will be received in the larger community. Thank you, and now on to the video. Before we get into building or making a design for nether hub and tunnels, we need to first determine the methods of travel we'd like to use in the tunnel. Although this list is not inclusive of all modes of travel, and others can certainly make good travel options, these are the ones best suited to a nether hub, and are using Soul Speed 3 in combination with Soul Soil, Blue and Packed Ice when combined with a boat, and an Elytra with rockets. Rideable mobs deserve an honorable mention, however, as they require the transport of mobs to some extent, they may be a little bit harder to set up, and their speed pales in comparison to the speed of the other options. Quickly, I would like to go over the pros and cons for each of these options to explain why I chose to use Blue Ice. Generally speaking, when related to cost, Soul Soil and Soul Speed 3 would be the cheapest, as Soul Soil is easily found in the Soul Sand Valley, and Soul Speed 3 is found commonly in bastions. Using Elytra with rockets is also fairly cheap after you made a sugarcane farm and creeper farm. Packed Ice is easily accessible in both ice spikes and frozen ocean biomes with Silk Touch, so I'd like to put Packed Ice as another cheap option. Blue Ice is definitely the most expensive option, requiring either a frozen ocean where it spawns uncommonly or crafting it out of packed and normal ice. Really quickly, let's talk about the travel velocity. Soul Speed 3 increases a player's speed by 61.5%. This means that a player can sprint at roughly 9 blocks per second when using Soul Speed 3. Elytras in a small space can achieve roughly 34 blocks per second. Packed Ice has a maximum velocity of 40 blocks per second, and finally using Blue Ice, the player can achieve a blazing 70 blocks per second. Speeds and costs aside, there are also some other things that are notable about each. First off, with Soul Soil, using the Soul Speed enchant wears down the durability of your boots, which is fine if you have mending, but can add some extra trips to the mob grinder. Soul Soil does share a large benefit with the Elytra in that the bottom block of your tunnel can be any block you'd like, so long as it's a slab on Soul Soil. My biggest issue with the Elytra is that to achieve 34 blocks per second, a lot of rockets need to be used, and unless you're using a really big creeper farm, replacing the rockets might be a little bit of a challenge. Unfortunately, using either of the ice blocks limits your build a little bit in colors, but they allow the easy transportation of mobs to the nether using boats. For mob proofing, either Soul Soil or Elytra tunnels can simply make the floor out of slabs, however Packed Ice and Blue Ice need to use rails to prevent mob spawns. Despite the higher cost, I've decided that Blue Ice would be best for my own world, however, all of these methods can yield very good results. Other than the general shape of a build, the second most important part of any build is the block palette. When building nether tunnels, the general shape should be a straight line with minimal twists and turns, which means that your block palette choice is actually the most important part of your build. Generally speaking, I have a hard time making block palettes, so for this build I start with a nice polished blackstone bricks, as they are a simple dark color. Since I was using Blue Ice, I had this blue color, and so as an accent I decided that light blue glass would probably look the best. For lighting, I fell back on one I had plenty of success with in the past, Shroomlights. On screen now you can see some other block palettes that may be of interest to you. Luckily you don't have to worry about gas after the build is complete, as they can't see through transparent blocks and they won't fire unless they see you. As a quick side note, I'd like to mention that most people build their nether tunnels as close to the nether ceiling as possible, or even on top in some cases. Generally speaking, this is what I would recommend, as there are fewer caves where gas can spawn while you're building. In my case, however, I had already established a base in the nether and would like to connect my tunnels to it. Also, the tunnels look kinda cool snaking through the nether in my opinion. When it comes to the actual build, I recommend starting by placing your travel blocks such as Blue Ice or Soul Soil and clearing out an area for your tunnel. If you're using an Elytra, 3x3 might be a little tight, but is doable. Soul Sand can get by with a 1x2 air gap, and boats need at least a 3 wide and 2 tall. You might have some trouble getting in and out of the boat though, so I recommend going 3 tall. Remember, clear out the walls and the ceiling since you're going to be replacing them. So in actuality, the elytra tunnel would be a 5x5. Before going on, I'd recommend coming up with a basic pattern that repeats every 5 blocks or so. In my case, I placed a shroomlight for light, and then turned it into a basic pillar with a stair sticking out and joining back up at the top. It helps to break up the tunnel a little bit, and although it doesn't need to be done, it might look nice in some shorter tunnels. Following this, I like to place a row of blocks going out and then another row coming back. However, you may find that building section by section is better for you. Either way, if you're using the ice blocks, make sure that the floor next to the ice is a slab, since anything else will cause your boat to slow down. Honestly, just having the tunnels is enough for most worlds and servers, even with a large number of players, as it helps to connect the world together and makes travel a little bit easier. Next, I'm going to talk about my design process for the actual hub where my tunnels intersect. I'm not all that great of a builder, and it's not my favorite build in the world, but it may be of interest to some players. I started by giving ideas and explaining how to build the tunnels for your nether hub, as they are honestly more important than the main central base. However, it's been quite the tradition for some time that players build a central hub in the nether which connects to the rest of their world. I'm sure most people who have clicked on this video were looking for ideas on how to build a large central world hub, and here are my thoughts. To keep the hub consistent, you should probably use the same or a similar block palette to the one you used for your tunnels. However, you can also make some really cool builds by having each tunnel with a different build palette and a small transition section. Since I'm not the best at building, I want to take the easy way out and just use the same block palette for my central hub, which as a reminder was light blue glass as my accent, shroomlights for lighting, and polished black stone bricks as my core block. I've always been a big fan of the layered glass for a floor, so in this build I started by experimenting with blue ice, 2 blocks of light blue glass, and then shroomlights on the side. I liked how it went, so I built some general pathways out of it that would become the main walking space. To prevent gas spawns, I filled the rest of my floor with slabs and a stair to bridge the gap between the light blue glass and the general floor. The shape for the most part was just made on a whim and mirrored where my tunnels were placed. Generally speaking, you can improve a build a lot just by adding more shape to it. Next came a part I was honestly thinking was going to be a lot more difficult than it was: the walls. I just started by placing a layer of stairs since they generally are pretty flexible and can give some depth to the build. Liking the stairs, I continued with the panes, which mirrored a similar style to the tunnels, and then I filled the corners in with full blocks. Since this is the main nether hub, a higher ceiling generally makes it feel a little bit more grand, and so I even opted to use 2 blocks of glass. Since the wall needed some light, I added some shroomlights to the outside corners. To bridge the wall and the ceiling, I placed, just like in the tunnels, a row of stairs and then more stairs facing in on top. I didn't want my ceiling to be perfectly flat, so I placed 2 rows of glass coming in and then added a small ridge for the final layer which tops off the entire build. If you have any suggestions for the walls or what to put in this little courtyard area, please let me know in the comments below. I'll give you a shout out and respond in my next video. For now though, here's the finished build. Like most things in Minecraft, there are many different ways to approach and solve the same problem. As such, there is no clear-cut solution that will work for everyone's situation or desires. I hope today's video gave you some insight and inspiration when it comes to building your own nether hub in Minecraft. Just remember to experiment. If you have any other questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll respond in my next video. Anyways guys, have a good one, and bye bye.